Alright, morning everyone. We have entered the start of the Ouachita Mountains. And stopping off a little rocky hillside, admittedly along a busy highway, but out here to do some flipping, see if there's anything present. So, just kind of trying to decide where to start here. There's definitely a fair number of good rocks out here. Very good looking rocks, in fact. And some amazing wildflowers that I'm going to need to take some photos of here. Anyway, we'll update if I actually see anything. It would seem I just showed up on the wrong time for rock flipping, because just like in previous days, this spot didn't show a whole lot underneath the rocks in terms of reptiles. But now it's not a snake, but we found ourselves a tarantula. Look at that. Folks, taking a brief breather as I drive along the highway. We're looking out across the valleys just to the north of the Ouachitas here. It's quite an incredible view, honestly. Very different landscape from the Rocky Mountains I am used to. More rolling hills than anything. And there is a very, very light rain falling, so I'm hoping that the spring I am heading to will have some things really active in it because of that. There are tadpoles of all sorts in this pool here. And I guess the bigger ones probably belong to the local leopard frogs. And the little ones are probably a species of either toad tadpoles or Cope's tree frogs. There's a bunch of them. And this, my friends, is what I came to this spring for. This is the local dusky salamander species. They're very aquatic organisms. Don't ever live very far from the water. This guy was hiding under a couple of rocks out here. But for somebody who doesn't get to see anything other than tiger salamanders at home, and I haven't even seen those before, getting to see this guy is quite a treat. They don't get too much bigger than this, too. This is a fairly good sized one. See that flat paddle tail that they use for swimming when there's enough water to swim in, because this is the habitat that he lives in. Just kind of in the rocks in this little seepage here. So we're going to get a couple of photos and then put him right back. And this, my first truly large salamander other than tiger salamanders, which yes, I have seen before, just not in a very long time up until just after this trip. These guys are found, as the name suggests, in the Ouachita Mountains, but also a bit in the surrounding region. They cover kind of the southwestern third of Arkansas and then just a little strip around the Ouachitas in Oklahoma. They are the most westerly of the Desmognathus species, the dusky and seal salamanders, which are otherwise very much eastern, southeastern creatures. A couple species in the northeast New England area. They like seeps and springs, particularly on rocky slopes. That's where they will live. They lay their eggs in, usually on the ground somewhere, and then the female will actually curl around and kind of guard them until rains come and bring the larvae hatching. The larvae then kind of make their way through the soil and the rocks until they find a more permanent seepage area to develop over a couple of years.
and then they wander out through the spring and into the surrounding woodlands sometimes, where they live and they hunt for small organisms such as worms, other salamanders, small invertebrates like crickets and things like that.
Alright, so I wanted a couple of photos of him in situ, so this works out. Anyway, I'm going to put the rock that he was under back where it was, and then we'll just kind of guide him in that direction. Or he'll go hide under there. That works too. Go that way. Alright folks, I got something else very special in here. So in my last video we saw the western slimy salamander, but up here, whoops, we have their very, very jumpy relative that is endemic to these mountaintops. This is the Kiamichi slenders, or slimy salamander. They look almost identical, but these guys are found nowhere else but up here. You can only really tell them apart by range and if you were to do genetic tests on them. So, that's two brand new species up here, two different salamanders, and I've only just started looking.
A very special little salamander that, as adults, they don't get actually a whole lot larger than this guy, perhaps a little bit more, but they are relatively small animals, and they only live on the mountaintops here in the Kiamichi and the Round Mountains of the Ouachita complex. They live only at the very tops of the mountains. Down in the lower valleys surrounding this mountain range, you find the western slimy again, but they don't compete well with this endemic species at higher elevations, which apparently are kind of aggressive, territorial towards the other species. And they have a very close relative too that lives nearby that, as you'll see later in the video, can be very hard to distinguish from this one.
It is raining quite a bit now. It's quite something though to be able to stand within a forest while it's raining this heavy and not get rained on at all. Okay, here what I think is a little baby Desmanathus. If not, I'll have to double check and see exactly what it might be. It could be a different species altogether, but don't leave just yet, sir. He's so tiny and adorable. Oh, now he's on my pants. Okay. Sir, probably not the best place for you. Let's get you moved. Alright, we're on a little scenic side stop, and we have, I mean, it may look like a familiar face, but this is a brand new species for me. This is a very pretty orange-striped version of Thamnophis sirtalis, the eastern garter snake. Back home, the version that I get to see is the red-sided garter. I don't get to see these guys. But this is one of many, many color variations of this subspecies found all across the eastern half of the U.S. And these are a member of the Natricidae family. So formerly they were colubrids, but they've been split out along with the rest of their close relatives. They are live bearers, they do not lay eggs, and they are a mildly rear-fang venomous species, but as you can see by my safely holding him, they are completely harmless to people. You might get a little rash if one chews on you for hours and hours, but otherwise, really, they can't do a whole lot at all. They're out here. He'll be out here since there's no real water nearby, feeding on earthworms and slugs, and maybe small rodents and lizards. If you're near water, they'll go after fish. But we're going to take a couple of photos and then let him on his way. Alright, since he was just out in the weeds here, there he goes. Wherever he chooses to go. Incredible number of Tradescantia species of a couple different species. There's salvias, little tiny yellow cinquefoils. There's a white spiderwort, oxalis, phlox, all sorts of stuff. We're not spending too long at this little spot. There's a couple things out here that might be worth flipping, at least looking under. Gotta get some bug spray on. Mosquitoes out here are so big you can hear them coming, and yet still they get ya. Alright, so we found a baby before, but this is an adult Kiamichi Slimy. See if I can get him back up off my pants. Come here, you. You're okay. Look at that. A little bit of color on the back. Kind of silvery on the sides. Very pretty animal. Can't keep him out too long since there's not a lot of moisture right here. We don't want to hurt him at all. But we're going to put him over here again and get a couple of photos. Just a little bit of a real close-up look at his head there. And those colors on his sides. Cool animal.
So shortly after finding that first salamander there, I would check the guides to realize, no, this was not actually a Kiamichi, and this is actually the second one that I found within 30 seconds after the first. These guys are rich mountain salamanders, different species, closely related to the slimies, but genetically different. They are actually found in an even smaller range than the Kiamichi is, only on 6 separate mountaintops up in this region.
Alright, so after I double checked to make sure, yeah, these are rich mountain salamanders, not the Kiamichi Slimies. And they are everywhere. This one is gorgeous. He's also right next to this huge millipede here. Quite interesting. He's decided he's going to disappear, I guess. So, I want to bring him out real quick, though, for another look, just for a minute. For a slightly different angle view, hopefully. Alright, this is probably the best one I've found yet. Who really just does not want to stay still. Where are you going, sir? That is not a hiding place for you. Come here. Gorgeous, like, bronzy back on him. We'll get him back under his log in a second, but that is an absolutely beautiful salamander. Look at that thing. Look at those colors. It's incredible. Would you check this guy out? Big ol' millipede down in the weeds. Beautiful colors too. He's gonna fall. Oop, there he goes, back into his weeds. Well, he's covered in dirt now, and running away. But there was another very large. Sir, where are you going? Very large, rich mountain salamander. And another. Might actually have to stop recording these guys. There's just so many of them. Whoops, and there he goes. Back under your rock, sir. I can tell somebody else has been here not too terribly long ago. What the hell? Termites. Okay. Gee, I wish that could flip. I'm not gonna be able to lift that thing though. I can already tell. Most of these probably aren't really, suitably flippable. It's just a crumbly mess over here. Figures as soon as I turn on the GoPro, things stop showing up. Whoops, too far. Let's see here. flip this monster of a rock. Somebody else already has, I see. Oh my God. Oh. Oh man. Oh no. I'm losing him. Damn it. So there's just a little bit of rain that's heading this way, looks like. It's hitting the next ridge over right now. And it's supposed to be slowly making its way up here. Luckily, this is kind of all we're really expected to get today. It's very mild thunderstorms and just misty rains. Apparently we're high up enough right now that we got clouds just skirting the road. Been a long time since I've seen that. Ever decided to try and herp inside a cloud before? This rain actually feels really good, to be honest. Such a lovely sound, the rain. I mean, there really is just something magical about listening to the forest under a rain. Well, it's taken all day, and you're probably going to hear a lot of traffic in the background here, but finally there's been a bit of a let-up in the ridiculous rain that has been coming through here, and stopped on the side of the road to look around for a little bit, and we have this gorgeous bellied ringneck snake. Around here we're starting to get into the intergrade region between the Prairie and the Mississippi ringnecks. This guy's a pretty decent size. Very smooth, slaty gray colors. So, another car coming. These are a small, typically fossorial species, hence why I found him underneath a rock over here. They like slugs, earthworms, small lizards, centipedes, sometimes even other snakes that are smaller than them. And they're dipsatids, so they are a rear-fanged venomous species, but entirely harmless to people, partly because, well, it's really hard to get any of them to bite. Really, dude, you've been doing just fine and now you poop on me? That's uncalled for. Anyway, they're hard to get to bite, and the venom is not designed for us, so it doesn't do a whole lot to people. Anyway, I'm going to wipe the nasty off of me, and then get a couple of photos of him, and let him back under his rock. Alright, dude. You were under here, so go back under your rock. Yeah, under the rock. I'm sure you'll figure it out. There he goes.
At this point, I was transitioning between the upper Ouachitas down towards Carter Mountain, the last mountain that I would hit on this day. Didn't find a whole lot other than this Streptanthus and this interesting mushroom.
All right, we'll see if we can get this on camera or not, but there is a slimy salamander in here somewhere. Let's see. There he is. There he is. Alright, there it is, people. The last of the slimy salamander species in Oklahoma that I was looking for. This is the Sequoyah. Found only in the Broken Bow area. So we're going to get a couple of photos and then let him back under his log.
And just as in the case with the Kiamichi slimy salamander, these guys are separated from the western slimy primarily by range and genetics. So they won't look visually different, but you'll find these guys up on the mountain within the stream valleys and along wet mountainsides. And then the western is not found on that mountain, but it will be found down in the lowlands surrounding the mountain.
There's a skunk over here. Right in the weeds, and there he goes. Alright, I had to stop out here to listen to the sounds real quick. It's incredible. Apparently when it's wet and rainy outside, at least the crayfish are active and running around on land. Alright, well it's not much to finish out the night, but we got a toad sitting out here on the road. Got kind of an odd shape to him. I can see why these guys get often confused with the woodhouses, because I'm pretty sure this is an American toad. A little bit of a different shape to the parotid glands on him. Not as red as the one I saw a couple of nights ago, though. Different species from what I am used to back home, although only mildly different in looks. You can see kind of the variable number of warts that I've got in the dark spots there. That's one way you can tell the difference, as well as the parotid shape. Anyway, we're gonna pick him up and get him off the road. Anyway, here we go. Into the moisture with you. Scoot, scoot. Scoot, scoot. Or not. Alright, folks. I have decided it's probably the end of the night now. We took a run down here to the Red Slough wildlife area just to see if there might be anything moving across the roads, because when it is wet and cool, that's actually when a lot of aquatic species might actually come up on the road. But nothing was showing, nothing alive at least. A lot of frogs all over the place, and we can hear them out there. A lot of tree frogs, in fact. But not a whole lot else. So, at least earlier today was pretty decent. We had 2 new snakes. We had those 4 different salamander species, which is a really great thing for me, since I do not get any diversity at all back home in terms of those guys. But hopefully when we come out here tomorrow morning, things will be a little bit more active. There's supposed to be another round of rain that's going to come through tonight, and then it's supposed to clear up for a while tomorrow and get warmer. So I'm hoping that makes things move around.
But until next time, if you'd like to help support production of educational videos like this, consider joining as a patron on patreon.com/hcarlton, where you'll get early access to the videos. There's exclusive merch. There's also exclusive seed contests for those who like that sort of thing. Or if you can't do a monthly subscription type support, there's one-time donations that can be taken at coffee. You can find the link for that in the video description, or buy stuff on my website at carltoncarnivores.com. There's a lot of plants for sale. I make jewelry out of the shed skins of the snakes that I have at home. And if you'd like to help support just by giving the channel some attention, make sure to like, subscribe, share the video, and leave some comments so that the algorithms pick it up. And if you'd like to see more little tidbits and photos and videos and so on, you can always find me on social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, at Carlton Carnivores. But until next time, I'm Hawken Carlton, and this is Carlton Carnivores.